Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. It's Victoria Scott, Six Pack Chick, and we're back here at Fit Club. Today is a very special episode because I've got my client Camille here with me today, and we're going to talk a little bit about her journey in fitness after 50. And if you guys have watched the channel for a while, you've seen we actually did an initial part 1 of this transformation. We'll link it below. This was her recomp journey that we discussed. And just as to recap, in her recomp journey, we showed what recomp is and also what her results were in that first 6 months. We literally will throw some pictures up on the screen here, but in the recomp journey with Camille, we basically stayed the same weight. I think there was maybe a pound difference, but you can obviously see her composition has completely changed, meaning she's gained muscle, she's lost body fat, and she was eating significantly more food. Like more food than you could handle.
Yeah, I enjoyed it.
For about 6 months, I would say, right? Yeah. Going from into the fall season, I think it was September last year. So almost a year ago. It's like a year anniversary since we did this video. And since then, we're gonna bring you guys up to speed on where she's at today. We'll throw up, this is her current photos that we'll throw up on the screen as well. So you can see what she looked like after her cut. And wanted to share with you what that journey looked like. So, Camille, I wanted to ask you first, if you can think back now, it's been, well, a year and a half now together almost, right?
Yeah.
Coming
Since
up on
May
18 months.
of last summer.
Ish. Okay. Almost 18, so 16 months. And now, sitting where you're sitting, can you think back to where you started and
oh my gosh,
like how you felt when you started? Like,
what was going through my head?
Yeah.
And I remember when we were first filming this first one, and I was telling you about how I got started in the middle of taking a trip to Napa.
Oh yeah.
And I think one thing, if I look back now, I would really encourage people to always start. Like, just start. It's never going to be easy. There's never going to be a perfect time, and I'm so glad that I actually just started. You know, when I think about that, I also had not. I don't think I really knew what to expect other than just follow the plan. I say that in terms of, we first adjusted all of my food. You got my calories up, and we just kept getting the consistent training. We played with 5 days a week versus 4 days a week, and I remember that first 3 or 4 months was almost kind of like just finding that rhythm, trying to find that groove, and seeing some of the changes happen. I would probably say by the time you and I had met last September, was it? Yeah, it was September. I think it was around September. And I think that's when I was really starting to see the beginning of the progress, right? All of the work starting to come in. But I was still working on form. We definitely spent a lot of time getting the form right, the correction right, all of the pieces. And when I think back to the recomp, it was incredible. I mean, the funniest thing is that my family was actually saying, I can't believe you're eating all that food. Is that
your
too much food?
Here now somewhere.
Yeah, he's around here somewhere. Exactly.
And I was just talking to one of your daughters on the way here, who was also now working with us, and she is 32.
She's 31.
31. Yeah. So we do have a couple youngins.
Yes.
In the program.
I know. Well, they also saw all of my progress too. So I think that's been the one thing I'll say after all of a full year and a bit, almost a year and a half, is how many people I've pulled along on my journey. Literally how many people I've shared information about how to sort of your nutrition and how it's, working out's really important, but it's not just about that. It's what you put in. And the same thing, my girls, I think my youngest daughter, Caitlin, she did a few months with you as well. Yeah. Now, Michelle, my older one, she's actually training. We often would go and be workout together, and so it's kind of be a little competitive. Yeah. I always say if I can do it, then they can do it as well too. But really, even just the rest of my family, my husband has lost weight. I'm sure you've never heard that before.
I hear that all the time.
Ever. He's looking really, And
the husband always loses 20
exactly.
or 30 pounds.
And now I'm saying, go talk to Andy while you're here.
Yeah.
Sort of thing. And then, but I think the other part was, and I still remember, and I think we've talked about this, sitting in the first phone call with you, and you said, what are your goals? And I was like, I just want to be strong like I was when I was 35. But, again, sort of in my mind when I was the most fit, and a consistent and I wanted to still be following the program, successfully working out and doing my whole plan a year from now. And guess what? I'm still here, and I think I hit that goal. So I think it's time for some new ones.
Yeah. So to recap in the recomp, and again, if you guys have followed the channel for a while, I've talked a little bit about recomposition. Not everybody is sort of eligible for recomposition when they first start. It really depends on where you're at, what your body's looking like, how much body fat you carry, etc. So when I intake a client into the program, looking at the whole picture and determining, can we see some recomp right out the gate, or do they jump into a fat loss phase, or potentially some clients do the opposite, they go into a reverse diet and then up into a build. So it really is unique to the individual person on what their goals are, and we take it from there.
Yep.
But Camille was a perfect, like textbook perfect recomp situation. And because of her compliance, her results are absolutely exceptional. 52 years old at the time, 53 now.
No, still, I'm going to be 53.
You're going to be 53.
Yeah.
So 52 now, turning 53,
Yep.
and looking like a fitness model. I was just complimenting her delts. Her delts are growing.
I know, I'm liking my little baby shoulders as they're coming in.
Yeah. So if you could summarize like your first 6 months, what would you say you accomplished?
Definitely first 6 months.
Gotta think back.
Yeah, I'm trying to think back. Because I lost about 3% body fat. My weight did stay about the same. Inches wise, my waist went from, I think I started at 29 inches on my waist, and the smallest my waist ever got in the cut was 26. So when I think about the first 6 months, I think I had already taken a good 1.5 inches off my waist. So again, you'll see if you go back to my original video, I was referencing the middle tire that I had around my waist. Well, that's gone. And that actually really within the first 6 months, I started to see it. Definitely became much more proficient at lifting. When I say more proficient, my workouts went from, I think I was spending like an hour and a half trying to like sort of work my way around the gym, and I was able to start to get in and out.
Like the learning curve.
The learning curve, yeah. And also just feeling comfortable, just saying, hey, excuse me, how many sets do you have left? Can I, that sort of thing.
Learning to navigate the gym scene.
Yes.
It's a real thing.
It is a real thing, yeah. And also take up space in that environment as well too. I figured out the rhythm of how to do sort of the walking, the steps, the cardio, like figuring out the time management. I have a very busy job. I work in tech, so it's not like I can do this during the day. So it's either working out in the morning or in the afternoon, evening, depending on meetings that I have. I also figured out how to manage it while I was traveling too, because
You traveled a lot.
I did. I traveled a lot, and especially towards the end of the summer. So even just trying to figure out like, how do I arrange for like to stay on my macros, how to also socially figure it out too. How do you get used to working with colleagues and not feeling awkward that you're packing your own lunch and just owning it as well.
Right.
And so, and that got a lot easier. And I think the other thing in the first 6 months is I was also able to I played a game with myself with my macros, was sort of like, can I guess how many grams there is in this banana? And then weigh it. And then how many ounces are in this chicken, and how close am I getting? But it really actually serves you well, because then when you are in a situation where you don't have your scale and you have to do your best guess, there's a certain level of comfort. So I definitely think
you can eyeball stuff way easier in social settings because you did the work at home, and it's repetitions at the end of the day.
And one of the things that I started doing early on in that first 6 months was going to my favorite restaurants and ordering the meal that I would normally want to have when I was eating out, bringing it home, weighing it, and then being able to eyeball it later when I was actually in the restaurant, and sort of break it down, know how much I had to pack in a to-go box versus what was going to be eaten while I was there. And so all these little strategies to just make it really manageable and not feel like you're always just, trying, only eating at home.
A lot of people think that they want variety. And even the people who swear they eat stuff different all the time, they actually don't.
No.
A lot of times we are creatures of habits, and a lot of us do have sort of a a rotation of our favorite things. For me, it might be 3 things. For somebody else, it might be 6 things. But there definitely is a pattern and a rotation.
Oh,
so
definitely.
if you can just even lock in on those things,
Yeah.
and like figure out your portions, and you're
Yeah, I had locked in really early on. Like I eat the same thing for breakfast pretty much every day. And even I think now, having gone through recomp, maintenance, and a cut, and now reverse, and now went to a build,
yeah.
my meals are the same. It's just I eat more or less of the same thing.
Okay, so let's talk about that. So before signing up and before
Yeah.
working together, did you know anything about like a reverse, a build, a maintenance? Like, did you think of your fitness journey in those terms? at all?
Not really. No. I'd always was more like I got to get to this goal weight, and then there was no next in that sort of like the seasons of the working out, like going through all of that. I think I was aware of it from a bodybuilding perspective, but it was never really something I applied. You know, it was either, you know, you're working out, trying to lose weight, trying to maintain, and then I'd sort of either would sort of fall back off the wagon and then start that again.
Yeah.
But I never intentionally said, oh, I'm going to try to remove body fat now, and I'm going to, you know, go into this cut phase, and then I'm going to come back out and I'm going to eat more, go into a calorie.
Yep.
I mean, that is a thing to I'm still wrapping my head around it right now too. Like I'm going back into a surplus because I want to gain muscle, and then I'm going to repeat the cycle again and probably repeat it again and again, you know?
Yeah.
I love it because actually I think if you can get your head wrapped around it, it becomes a lot easier to stay on target, because you know none of the phases are ever going to last forever.
Yeah.
And there's something wonderful about that, at least if you're a goal-oriented person like I am, where it's like, as of this date, we're going to hit, or as of this target, like goal weight, then we're going to start going in the opposite direction and set new goals.
Yeah, I think it's helpful for all of us just to know where you're at in the spectrum of things, because otherwise you're just sort of like floating like a feather.
Yeah.
And usually in those cases, most of us go backwards. Let's just call a spade, right?
Yeah.
So even saying, you know, right now I'm in maintenance, well, what does that look like? And that still requires some level of work.
It's hard, actually.
I think so. I think
think
maintenance
it's
is
probably
probably
the
the
hardest.
most difficult because the expectation is no change, and people are not comfortable with that, right? We get excited for some change.
Oh gosh, yeah.
Right? To some degree. So after our recomp, we did go into a maintenance phase because you had a surgery.
I had a surgery,
And so that was like November?
It was November. So I was out from November, I think, until early January. And so had to have surgery. And then we started slowly building back up by walking, getting back into the gym, doing some light stuff, and then back on track. But what's remarkable is I focused very hard on keeping my nutrition on point during that time, because I knew there was
Maintenance is all nutrition.
Yeah. And actually, like, I did lose a little bit of upper body strength. I didn't lose any lower body strength at all, really. I mean, that was almost kind of like right back to where I was. And
Well, your surgery was upper body surgery.
was upper body. Oh, yes. Yes, my nice like girls here. Had to have them redone.
We've talked about on this channel before, training around breast augmentation and implants and stuff. So.
Exactly. There's a whole funny story, which we can do another side one. We'll do like a short on that or something.
Oh, right,
like that,
right.
right?
We should.
Camille's journey through unexpected, reconstruction surgery.
The deflated picture.
Oh my gosh, the deflated picture. I literally was, one side was deflated, and I couldn't make it to the retreat last year.
Yeah. So we did maintenance. Through that, really focused on nutrition, slowly incorporated training with, your physician's approval, and we integrated that. And, our team is well versed in how to do that. So obviously, I've been through it a couple times myself. So after that, we decided, hey, you were going to come to the retreat. So we do a retreat for our clients in April every year. And we decided, hey, let's go ahead, and now's the time to do a cut. So here you are, you've already recomped, and most people will look at your photos and be like, what's there to change? Like, you look freaking amazing already, right?
Yeah.
But you can always improve.
There was more. But yet, there's more, right? I feel like that infomercial.
What was your experience with your first cut? Like, was it what you expected? And let's talk about, Camille also created a spreadsheet, and this is actually based on a presentation that I do in our program. I do lots of learning calls throughout the month, and basically discussing what are the metrics for fat loss success. What does this look like? And so given the parameters, and this is just basic math at the end of the day, that I discussed in this presentation, Camille put together a spreadsheet because
I wanted to prepare myself. So that was my one
that's
thing.
her personality.
I definitely wanted to prepare myself. Well, because when we first started, what I loved about Recomp was that I wasn't hungry. And maintenance, I wasn't hungry. I mean, other than the usual, even when you wake up in the morning or after a hard workout. And so actually that was probably my biggest fear. If I could actually have a fear of, sort of going into a cut, was like,
hungry.
oh, I don't really want to
Is
be
that a
hungry.
thing?
Yeah, I get
Fear of being hungry?
There's got to be a phobia or something.
Phobia.
You should look it up.
Let's look that up. And
Yeah,
phobia, fear of being hungry.
there's got to be one.
I mean, I think I might actually have that. I saw that
I
on
just-
Instagram. People
Yeah.
were posting like circle your fears. Have you seen that one
yeah,
floating
yeah.
around? And I was like, I don't think I'm actually really scared of anything. I mean, some of these things kind of
Yeah.
suck, but
And I think the other fear that I had, so it was, I didn't want to be hungry. So I wanted to make sure that I was, you had been saying like high volume, space it out differently, try to eat at times when, like, don't eat when you're normally busy and you're sort of engaged and you can distract yourself from the hunger. Try to plan your meals around when you're not going to be able to what do you call it? Like do that, like hunt through the kitchen sort of thing. And so but I also wanted to have the spreadsheet because I work in tech and we measure everything. I'm in marketing, and the only way to measure marketing is you benchmark it against the results that you want. They are forecasting.
Yeah.
So you were forecasting that my result was going to be that I was going to land at 132 pounds.
Yep.
And I was like, I'm not sure I agree with you because of my past experience too, right? When I think about, how hard it was to take some pounds off.
yeah.
And so we got that. So I put it in a spreadsheet, and every week, and I just put my starting weight, which was, gosh, hold on a second. You can probably put it up on screen as well.
Yeah,
too.
we'll put the spreadsheet up here.
Um,
So the range that that we aim for with our clients for fat loss is 0.4 to 0.8% of your total current body weight per week of fat loss. And if you are a larger body person, you could maybe go up to 1% or slightly above 1% of your total body weight. But after that, you do start to risk losing muscle because the diet is so aggressive and the fat loss is too fast that there will be some fat loss, but a portion of that will be muscle. So to mitigate that, you want to be within these range. And if you're in that range, you're good.
yeah.
And you don't just go by 1 week, you look over a trend, and that's why we just track and track and track. And so,
Yeah.
Camille,
I know, I'm looking at my spreadsheet here as a
Yeah.
reference. And so I wanted to know, well, I think it's also the first time I was going through it, I don't know, am I my body type? How well will I respond? So
Right.
again, I wanted to empirically track it. And so I started off, my actual weight that I started off at was 140.6 actually. And I just created sort of within the ranges of what I would expect from that 0.4 to the 0.8. So every week I could sort of look at it and go, okay, am I somewhere in here? Because if I'm somewhere, again, just within this benchmark, I'm okay.
Yeah.
And it might take a little bit longer. It might go a little bit faster because I was also very concerned about, I didn't want to lose any of the muscle that I've been working my butt off
Exactly.
to put on for the past year.
Yeah,
And
the key in the fat loss phase is to, yes, lose body fat, but also to minimize muscle loss. And some people, depending on body type, depending on how aggressive the diet is, and depending on how long they diet for, do lose some muscle tissue. That's just as part of dieting. It just is what it is. And you can't guarantee muscle gain.
yeah.
You can really predict fat loss, obviously,
Yeah.
as shown in the spreadsheet to a T. But what muscle is left over is going to be,
Yeah.
you can't guarantee the muscle gain.
And I think it was also for me too, it was also to understand, because I think I didn't want to get discouraged because 1 week I didn't see as much progress as another week. And so seeing that trend line sort of, as long as it was trending, I mean, they always say just like anything, it's not a straight line. It's going to be like all over the place like this. As long as it was trending. And I remember putting it to my check-in and thinking, oh, I feel so discouraged right now. And then I'd look at my spreadsheet and I'd put all my numbers in and I go, oh, I have no reason to feel discouraged. I'm still 100%. And I literally, if you look at it, I tracked like almost dead center.
Yeah,
Literally.
right at about 0.6,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
So 0.6% of her total body weight per week is what we ended up averaging, which is actually right around where I average as well. And it is typically where I do see leaner body people tend to be on that lower range.
Yeah.
And sort of what you can expect going forward, honestly, is after you have your initial, if say you're somebody who has 30 or 40 pounds to lose, you might be on the upper end of that range on that first big, what we call it the major fat loss phase. And then after that, you just have minor fat loss phases. They're smaller and, might be 5 to 10 pounds.
Yeah.
And the percentage, the rate of loss per week becomes smaller and smaller. And it's not very eventful, frankly. So,
But I even see that in mine, where I started at 27. So just for context, when I signed up with you in May of 2023, I was at 31% body fat. And I carried it really well because I was a master at hiding all of,
Yeah, I actually, even in a bikini, I wouldn't have actually, well, maybe I would have.
Yeah.
I would have said you were in the high 20s.
Yeah. Through the recomp, I lost and then I got down to 27 just through recomping.
Eating more food.
Yes. Eating a lot more food. I was at 1,500.
You lost 4% body fat.
Yeah. Which I think that's the way to go, really.
It is for a lot of people.
Yeah.
To retrain like the diet habits and just get into. Yeah.
Exactly. And then by the end of it, so in February I was at 27%. By the time we hit April, I was down to just under 20% body fat. But I actually, if you look at my spreadsheet, when I was capturing it, it was rapid from 27 down to like 23, and then inch the rest of the way. So I think it's sort of, again, data doesn't lie.
Those leaner body fat percentages as you get, and it sort of scales slightly as you get older, what the lean range is. By that I mean like a 23% for a woman who's 50 might be a 21% for a woman who's 40, kind of like that.
Yeah.
So, so as you get into those leaner and closer to the teens, there is a little bit more resistance because it just really is a next level body fat percentage. I don't know how else to say it. It's the athletic range is between like 14 and 18% is what we consider athletes. And so as you get close to that, initially it is a grind. Once you get there and if you stay there, you can, I stay around 14% year round and my body is very healthy, everything's normal. And it's not difficult for me at all.
Yeah.
But I've also been this way for
Well, you've been doing it for more cycles. And I would expect that in our next cycle, I'll go from where I am, probably now I'm at inching up a little bit because I'm starting my build, but I'll probably get down further into the teens.
Yeah,
right?
that would be the goal. The goal would be so we completed your fat loss phase in April. You came out here and did your photo shoot.
Oh my gosh, that was super fun. You got to put some photos up on that one because I still look at them when I need to pick me up and be like, yeah, that's me.
Did I tell you? I think I told you the story last time we were chatting. So what became kind of surreal for me at this last retreat was that we had Paul Bucetta come out. He was the chief photographer for Oxygen magazine back when that was in publication in print, and now he is the chief photographer for Strong magazine and Andavaro magazine. But when I started my fitness journey, I picked up an Oxygen magazine. It was 2007, I think, maybe 2006. And there was a girl on the cover and I thought, oh my God, I love her arms. How does she look like that? And I grabbed the magazine and I just I went down the rabbit hole. And then I was on the internet because there was no social media. I was on the internet looking for all the information. But that was like the catalyst. That was like the thing that like triggered everything for me and started this whole journey. And I was thinking when he was there shooting all of you guys, how surreal it was that here I was now over 15 years later, 17 years, something like that later. And I've got this photographer here shooting my clients at this retreat. Like,
it was super
so freaking cool.
It was definitely a highlight. And I probably overthought what I was going to wear, way too much, but
everyone does. Yeah. I'm like, just get a man's t-shirt and some heels and you'll be great.
But it was such a good confidence builder, sort of just getting comfortable, even with the movement. Because I do find as again, from spending years sort of hiding under flowy shirts to like the confidently putting on. So I wore some pretty nice, like tight, dress and outfits.
Yeah, you looked hot.
Yeah. I was like, and so, and then my girls are like, you got to see this picture of my mom. Like, you won't believe like the progress that she's made. So it actually becomes, I mean, and I'm so glad I have it as a, that was the culmination of all of that hard work that I had put in from February as well too. All the days that I just, that I was compliant, that I didn't take an extra bite, lick, or taste from anything in the kitchen. That just, and so it was a great sort of reward. I left all that makeup on afterwards to go out for dinner too, which was like, I wish I had a glam squad all the time.
I know, right? Professional makeup it's the best.
But it was really great, and I think just to feel comfortable, and I think that the one of the biggest benefits of working with you, Victoria, has been I feel comfortable in my own skin. I show up at the gym, and I used to be so self-conscious about what I was wearing. I remember the first time I forgot a t-shirt or a tank top to put over my sports bra. And I went, I have a decision to make. I can either get my workout in. By the way, I was wearing like just leggings and a sports bra. Now I wouldn't even think twice about it.
Yeah.
But back then I was like, I'm just going to do it. I don't care if I don't look perfect or, I feel uncomfortable. Not a single person cares but I felt so, and now, I mean, I don't even think about getting dressed anymore. I just put on my my clothes don't wear me, I wear my clothes. So thank you.
You're welcome. You get to work.
Yeah.
So thinking about like that picture
Yeah.
from May 2023 to doing the photo shoot, and you've like come full circle. Like it's so cool, right?
Oh yeah.
Like this is kind of a weird question, but like, have you ever thought about what if you didn't start? Like, where would you be today?
I don't think I would be quite as well. Yes, I've thought about that a lot actually, because we haven't talked about the mindset work too. We've talked about nutrition, and I know that most of the questions are around food and working out and how did all of that. I think the biggest shift is my mindset. I really do. They always say you can't pursue happiness. Happiness should be an outcome of something that you're doing. And, from day one, I declared that this was going to be my hobby. It wasn't a chore. It wasn't something I was forced to do. And so when I think about the what would have happened had I not have started, I'd probably still be feeling grumpy about the way I felt about myself. I wouldn't have set as many boundaries with people in my life around me. As a mom, and my love language is acts of service. It's always not a good combination in terms of care. So self-care took on a different dimension as well. And even my team at work commented one day when I was in a meeting, they're like, "You're so zen.
Yeah.
You're so chill.
I remember you saying that.
Why are you so relaxed?" And I realized, I was like, I actually think it's because of the way I'm choosing to live my life, this lifestyle and the program and going through it. I didn't have as many cortisol sort of like flight or fight sort of moments, things like that. So I definitely think I'm in a much better and happier place.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So amazing.
It is very cool.
So
and I wish I had started a decade earlier. So all of you out there in your 40s, don't wait.
Don't wait. I know. It's
Don't
like
wait.
the best time to start was 20 years ago.
Yeah,
The second
exactly.
best time is now.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
It's so true.
Just do it. And it's going to take time. And I think the other thing that I realized too is I no longer have a quick fix mentality about it. I no longer have a, I'm going to do some sort of short-term, fix to fit into my clothes or for an event. And again, we talked about the seasons. I'm just going to embrace that in some photos I'm going to have like a little bit more, and then sometimes I'm going to be in my, doing my photo shoot sort of level photos. And that's just going to be the way it is. But there is no easy. You just got to put in the work.
Yeah. You look amazing.
Oh, thank you.
So what would you say was like your biggest shift? Like, is it just the, like what you just said was, I don't look at it as a quick fix, but what got you to that point?
Oh, wanting to make a change?
Yeah, like some people
gosh.
get so stuck on that. I need to happen now, and it's not fast enough. And how do you make peace with that?
One is it's already almost September. I sneezed and the year went by, sort of thing. It's like I think you start realizing that we tend to think things we want it to happen now, but 9 months from now is going to be like a blink,
Mhm.
really. And so
Absolutely.
I think that there's a little bit of just understanding some of the sort of how time goes by. I think the other part for me was um, actually literally just checking the boxes. Just checking the boxes.
Like, don't think too far ahead.
Don't think, yeah, just like
Yeah.
make it through this week and then make it through the next week and then make it through the next week.
Yeah.
And then you will just sort of chip away at it. And I think the other part too is the non-scale goals. Like
Oh, yeah.
it's not only about the aesthetics. It's not only about, sort of that ultimate sort of like, what are the measurements that I want to have? There's all of the other benefits of, discovering, like I live on a second story condo and
Yeah.
I run up and down the stairs now. I carry all of my groceries in one shot just because I can.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's all these little things.
Yeah. I always say you can be the example of what to do, or you could be the cautionary tale of what not to do.
Yeah,
Right.
totally true.
So I
Totally
think
true.
about how many people, I mean, I speak with hundreds of women every single month. And so many people, I mean, I've talked to women who are young,
Yeah.
10 years younger than you, who feel sluggish, they feel depressed, they feel unhappy in their bodies, and they feel like they can't keep up with their kids, and they're younger than
Yeah.
you. So it's just like taking control of your life and starting to make those changes.
Yeah.
And
it's
it can
hard.
look so different.
Yeah.
I mean, people always ask, like, how quickly can I get results? I mean, pretty much instantly you can get results. Like, you can feel better in a week. You could feel even better in 3 weeks and even better in 3 months. And it just keeps going.
Yeah.
Right?
It does keep going, and I think it's I mean, I definitely was feeling better by the last time we were recording. I mean, like when I was saying, like after that first 3 months of sort of getting that sort of forming what your new routine is, I think the other part is that it forever sort of changes.
Yeah.
I don't think I'm the same person this year as I was last year. And I don't think I'll
really
be the
cool.
same person next year than I will be this year. And so I think that a lot of that, I don't know, again, we talk about self-care, but I think at the end of the day, it's just if you decide you want to do something, just do it.
Just go for
I
it.
know it sounds like
Go all in.
Just go all in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I say you can't be half pregnant.
No, can't be. You either did your workout and I think being honest with yourself too.
Yeah.
You either did your workout or you didn't do your workout. You ate the food you were supposed to eat or you didn't. And don't beat yourself up over it if you had that bag of chips or you had that, one thing. I think too often we beat ourselves up over something as opposed to just going like, oh, okay, well, I messed up. That was, let's just keep going.
Right.
And so I think that's also another part of it too, is to have that sort of athlete's mindset that I'm not going to build the body I want. And I think I tell you all the time, I'm going to have the body I want by the time I retire. And then that body is going to carry me through having grandkids and being able to run around with them and not falling downstairs and being strong and not having to worry about my bones and all of that stuff.
The video, there's a video here on the channel. We'll link it below too. I did it with Jared Feather. We talked about this. It depending on when you start, your peak is going to be somewhere around 10 to 15 years from that, regardless of your age. So if you start at 15, you'll probably peak your max potential around 30.
Yeah.
And if you start at 45, you'll probably get to that peak around 55 or 60 if you just keep at it. So it's really just saying, okay, well, it's a long game, but you're on the ride anyway. You might as well go for it, right?
Oh, yeah. I mean, it's not like I'm going to give up on inhabiting this body, so I might as well make it the best one I can, right?
Absolutely.
And
Are you excited for this build?
I am.
I remember at
am
the end
so
of the
excited
cut,
for
you
this
were
one.
like, I'm done cutting. I see where I need to grow.
Oh, gosh. It was kind of like, oh, my gosh, I lost everything on my,
You put on a ton of muscle in that recomp phase
Yes.
already. And we have some DEXA scans that we discussed in that last video. But everybody, once they do their first real cut, when they go to the end of it, they realize, oh, I don't have as much muscle as I thought I had.
No.
And that's why usually for most women, you need about 3 to 5 build phases, depending on what level of muscularity you want to achieve, and also like your height and your overall size, like how long your limbs are. So you're,
So, yeah.
you're not a short girl, you're not a tall girl,
like
you're
right in the middle.
Yeah,
5'6".
a couple of builds to do, but
I'm trying to put in the intensity and make sure I can like maximize each one. And I'm actually, I
mean, your form videos that you send me are amazing. Like your technique is getting better, and it's always just fine tuning. There's always something that can be a little bit better.
Yeah.
So-
I think being more mindful too of really focusing and not just like rushing through my workouts. Even if it's a shorter one. As I said, I'm really loving the block that I have right now that you've given me, because it does feel so targeted around certain muscles that we want to grow. That it's way more focused, but I feel like I can actually devote even that much more energy towards it, because I'm not trying to do everything all at once as well. Which is
Next level, 2.0 Camille.
I know. Coming next.
Well, thank you so much for
Yeah.
this update. And
Cool.
if you guys enjoyed this video, please let us know in the comments. If you have questions, please drop them below. We'll make sure to follow up with you in a future video. Continue to share Camille's journey, because she's not done yet.
We'll see 3.0 and 4.0, maybe 5.0.
Absolutely. Yeah, and be sure to follow. You can follow myself on Instagram if you guys don't already do that. And you can also follow Camille
Yeah. When I post,
when she posts.
fit in my 50s.
And check out her journey too. And that's all we have for you guys today. Thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you guys next time.